best friends in the house, Loza.
Hello. I'm not doing this to be an ally. I back you because I back you and I believe in everything that you're doing. I'm tired of learning and shedding skin.
Yeah.
I just want to have a year where it's just like la 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 la.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of Black Women Rising podcast, sponsored by our wonderful friends Palmer's. I'm super excited today because I've got one of my best friends in the house, Loza.
Hello. Yay. Babe, sorry.
I know.
Can we talk about?
I know.
Loving this. This is gorge.
It feels so weird having you here because you've seen me from the bottom to the top. To the top? Yeah.
I see a steady, is it incline?
Yeah.
Is it going up?
Yeah, incline. Yeah.
I think I said the right word.
Yeah,
I always get my words mixed up.
It better not be decline. Lauren, thank you so much for coming on.
Of course. Always.
I know you're like the busiest person in the world.
Never too busy for my Leanne Perro, darling. MBE.
Do not. But you know what's mad? Like, I was thinking about these episodes of the podcast that I've done. Obviously, this is series 4. And I really wanted to have someone on with the theme around allyship.
Yeah.
And when I thought about allies, I thought about you. Because not only are we really good friends, but in terms of support for Black Women Rising, you were one of the first people to show us support. And I'm just so grateful to you. You've opened doors for me and the charity in ways that people would never understand. So this episode is about that. It's about you, actually, but it is about that. Like, this is what this episode represents, is around true allyship and what that looks like.
But I think for me, like, when you say these things, and like, it means a lot to me, and thank you, but it's just, for me, it's not something to be thanked. It's like how it should be. Like, I'm not doing this to be an ally. I back you because I back you and I believe in everything that you're doing. And how you show me, how you show up in the space, the work that you're doing is so important, and you're legit with what you say. Like, you're not in this for the clout, you're in this to make a difference. And I've seen that from day one, and that's why I will always back you, and I'll always put my name next to your name, because I know you're out here doing the real work, and it takes so much from you. Yeah. We see each other. There's so much people don't see behind the scenes. They just see us going to like awards or filming like amazing podcasts and stuff and think, oh my God, look what they're doing. They don't see us on the phone to each other in tears or like cursing the world because we don't know what to do.
Exactly.
I think the thing with allyship is, especially in this day and age, and I think we saw a lot of it, especially during the pandemic, is that people do it as a tick boxing exercise. Tick boxing, is that word? We don't know.
It's now.
Yeah, it's a tick boxing exercise, and it's like, I have to be seen to be doing this. Whereas I think like true allyship is just part of it. Like you're not. It doesn't matter. Half the time, allyship is what people don't see. Yeah. It's true. Like, I do feel like my allyship with Black Women Rising, half the time, it's visual when there's stuff to share and I've always got your back, but it's not about that. It's the behind the scenes stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and it's like speaking your name in rooms where people haven't heard of you, and to me that's the important thing, because I think as well what I love about you and why I think, you know, our relationship has become like that of like really close best friends rather than just colleagues in the space, is because we do speak each other's names in rooms and we back each other. Yeah. And that means a lot in the space, because as well, what I really value, I have to say, Leanne, is that like you're very real with me. Sometimes to the point where I'm like, can I swear on this podcast or not?
Yeah, you can.
I was like, you just pissed all over my chips. Why? Because you say the things I don't want to hear, but you say it from the purest place because you want me to succeed. Yeah. And I think that takes some special like relationship and allyship. And like I said, it's not, you're not doing it so that you could go around going, I actually support Black Women Rising, or I actually support Girl vs Cancer. It's like, we're part of the DNA of each other now, and I'm really proud of like what we're able to do together, because we can't do it without each other, babe. We can't.
And I guess like, I will never forget that first time, and I was like, rah, this girl is actually proper cool. I remember it was after our first exhibition. Yeah. And you turned up, you came, and I was like, oh my God, she's a celebrity, she's come.
I think that is so jokes.
I actually did. I said, oh my God, we've got a celebrity coming. And then you came, and then it was a couple of weeks after, someone called me up and they were like, do you know Lauren? And I was like, yeah. She came to my exhibition and stuff, and they were like, oh, I was at some big conference and she was talking about Black Women Rising. And I was like, oh my God. And I was like, I felt that was such a special thing at such an early stage of Black Women Rising, when at that time no one else really cared. You were showing support, and I'll never forget that.
Oh, but the thing is, it's like, I remember how I found you was because of our friend Saima, who isn't with us anymore. We lost her we didn't lose her, she's not a sock. She died in 2020. And I remember doing these shout outs on social media for Girl vs Cancer campaigns. And please believe me when I say, and you know this, even now it's still the case, that, you know, everyone was coming back to me and they were all middle-aged, blonde, white women. And I'm like, but cancer isn't blonde, middle-aged and white. Like, there's so many different variations and different communities it reaches. And, you know, clearly the audience that are following me aren't as diverse as I hoped they would be. No. So I'm like, okay, well, where are these experiences? Because I can't talk about cancer if I'm not talking about a lived experience for everybody, or include as many experiences as possible. Yeah. And it was actually Simon that like slid into my DMs and said, you need to look at Black Women Rising. They've got an exhibition on in Peckham. Yeah. And that's what I did. I came down and I got to meet all of your girls, got to meet you, got to meet Simon in person. And I was just blown away by everything you did and the importance of it and the stories that weren't getting the airtime. So for me, it's just been like, I'm quite fortunate in that I've been doing this a long time. Yeah. And I have the opportunities to say your name and your organisation's name and support people who aren't having eyes on them like me. Why wouldn't I do that? I don't gatekeep. Like, we're stronger together at the end of the day.
Oh, you do not gatekeep. That's
I'm like,
one
take
thing
all my
for
contacts.
sure. Yeah, you're just
Speak
like
to these people.
So, for those who might be watching and might not know who you are, can you just tell them a little bit about who you are?
Well, born in 1985 to Tina and Gary Mahon and Fulham. So I'm Lauren Mahon, Loza to nearest and dearest, but yeah, breast cancer survivor. Around the same time, wasn't it?
Yeah, exactly. Same time.
I was 31 when I got diagnosed. At the time, I was working as a social media manager, influencer marketing, like I had my own blog. I was one of those chicks that used to go down to Somerset House and be on the cobbles like, take my picture, tap me, let me be in the papers. So yeah, back in those days. And then, yeah, I got sick and I found the lump by accident, got sent away, too young, which we hear all the time. And yeah, when I found out, it was like the biggest shock ever. I mean, that sounds like such an understatement because it just blew my world apart. Because I didn't expect it to be cancer, why would I?
Of course.
Also, these are my natural breasts. Like, are they having a laugh? Yeah. Like, when I found the lump, I was like, what? Yeah. Like, what is it? How? Yeah. How can I get breast cancer with such small boobs? But again, it's all these educational pieces that you learn when you're going through it. But, you know, much like you in terms of your community, when I got sick, I think it was more like a personality and a life stage thing. Like, I couldn't find women like how we talk to each other. I couldn't find women who are like, yes, I have cancer, but I still want to go and have a glass of Prosecco, or, you know, like, I still want to go to gigs, or like, how do I date? And someone to actually talk to you on the level rather than it being like this. And now you must wear really ugly floral headscarves and sit on sofas with head tilted like this. I'd be very sad. I just wanted to be me. I wanted to like still be me. So yeah, it all came about from a hashtag. Just using all the tools in my locker that I knew felt very organic to me. So like using social media, talking to my influencer community that I've met through work and getting them to help spread the message. And I used to sell merchandise, so sell lots of t-shirts. Gosh,
yeah, I remember those.
It was like a lifetime ago to raise funds for other charities. And now, long story long,
you raised a shitload of money.
It was about 100 grand in the end.
Yeah, I know you did.
Yeah. We've got a special guest today, by the way. If you see him tippy-tapping in and out, my son Raymond. You're
Hello,
right, bro.
darling.
You coming up? You chilling? No, you should brush your head there.
Just want to brush his head.
Yeah.
But yeah, you raised so much money doing those t-shirt campaigns.
I love it. Do you know what I love? I had a meeting today about plans and stuff we can do with like Girl vs Cancer and reaching a younger audience. And like the woman I had the meeting with, she was like, how do you have this energy? Like, obviously I know it's for a good cause. And I'm like, but it's really hard to explain when you know you're good at certain things, but then you can apply them to better the experience of others. Like, I love to do those t-shirts campaigns. Yeah. They make me excited. I get to use my creativity. Yeah, I get to use my network. I get to like just be me in the space, but in turn benefit other people. I know. So I've always tried to bring that. Like, I'll be the first person to say, and you know this from conversations we have, I do not know what the fuck I'm doing when it comes to running a charity. I do not know what I'm doing when it comes to running a business. And actually a very difficult conversation I had to have with you recently was, I don't know if I want to. I want to do the work and I want to help people, but do I want to do this big whole structure of a charity? No, man, that's a waste of, I'm no good at that. I'm good at this. But that's quite a power move to admit. So yeah, it's been a long process. Like now I have a charity number, but it's looking at how charity works, and it works for me in a way that's going to benefit those around me. It's not going to be a traditional way of doing things, isn't it? You're amazing at charity though.
No, because I've been doing it for a long time.
You're so good at it.
You know, I've been running charities and stuff, you know, I mean, 22 years, community work, charities, fundraising and all of that. So, and I think the thing is, what I loved about our conversation about our work, and we'll come on to a bit about Girl versus Cancer in a minute, what I loved about that chat and our work was that actually, you know, it's about looking at what are you good at. If you're good at something and you know it, and you enjoy it, and that is your skill set, that's fantastic. But the stuff that you're not good at, like actually coming to that place and going, actually, I'm not good at that. That's a very powerful place to get to, because what happens a lot of the time is the ego tells you a lot that, I'm going to do this and I'm going to stick this out. Actually, sometimes you've got to know when to go, actually, no, I'm sorry, I can't. Yeah. That is more powerful than trying to stick at something that is, and I'm telling you that now.
And Joe,
because the amount of businesses, programs, things like that I've set up and then had to cancel, a lot of people wouldn't know that behind the scenes. I've actually stopped a lot of little businesses and initiatives behind the scenes, and I've had to get clear about what I'm good at and what I'm not. You know, and that is a very powerful place. So you might have been coming to me going, oh yeah, da, 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 da. What you didn't know in that moment, I was thinking the decision she's going to make next is going to be so powerful. And we know that there's powerful things happening as a result.
There's things happening, Mohan knows about happening. But I have to thank you for that, because you are genuinely, I feel like it's just going to be the Leanne, Lauren love each other show. But it's like being able to have these conversations with someone who gets it and is going to be real with you. And actually, we know from the work that we do that people can gatekeep and you know, people are always, like you said, it's ego. I think a lot of the time where it's like, well, I want to be doing that. And it's like, but what are your strengths? I can't do what you do. Some of the things you can't do what I do, but you give me the strength and the courage to make the decisions when I can't see the wood for the trees. And I think it's so important that, you know, in the cancer community and in the people that are working in the charity sector and grassroots, the strongest we can be is when we work together. Amen. And it's really refreshing to like have an ally such as yourself, and just show as well the world that it can be done and we can all pitch in and do our bit, rather than it being like, this is my section, this is your section. Talking about
on the podcast, and that, you know, one of the other episodes of the podcast, and we were talking, it seems to be a reoccurring theme of people talking about working together, and there's not enough of it. And I definitely believe that there is a wanting to be the savior, an ego of people wanting to be the savior, wanting to be that person that's going to come along and save everybody from this deadly disease and all of that stuff. There is a superior complex in there. Superiority.
Godlike complex. Like, it will be me that...
I'm going to be that person. And when it comes to all of that, there's no winners in this cancer stuff, because people are dying in whatever communities we're trying to represent. People are dying at alarming rates. Look at you represent the younger women. I had 2 young girls yesterday coming on to the podcast talking about, you know, being pregnant and having cancer, and they're in their 20s. Is that even remotely normal?
No, but the thing is, we say it's not normal, but it's more normal than we realise. And the reason why it doesn't feel normal is because no one talks about it.
Yes.
And that's why we are here.
Well, that's why Girl versus Cancer exists.
Oh my God, look at that little segue. Oh my goodness. She's a professional.
Tell us about Girl versus Cancer. Can I just say as well, you created Girl versus Cancer when there was nothing. There was nothing. I obviously came on to, you know, when I was diagnosed, I stayed away from social media. When I did look at social media, there wasn't much grassroots organisations about, particularly at that time. But more importantly, there was nothing for young women. I didn't see, but I came across Girl vs. Cancer.
Amazing.
And that was one of the first places that I went to. And many people said that to me.
Okay.
What is Girl vs. Cancer? What is the journey and where is that now?
Okay, so Girl vs. Cancer started out as a hashtag, and it was just a place for me to kind of separate Lauren content on social media and stuff and on my blog from the cancer experience I was going through. I kind of just wanted to know that's over there and that's here. But I still don't know how that hashtag or brand wasn't taken. It's wild. That shows how old I am in this now, like 7 years ago. And yeah, I just was like, I'm just going to talk about cancer my way, how I would have wanted to receive information, the things that I would have wanted to see to follow someone's journey. It doesn't all have to be bleak. It could be quite like cool and just very me. Like, I'm not saying that I was the coolest, but do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, just through the lens of like the aesthetics of Instagram and stuff. But what happened as a result of me like owning it and saying I have cancer and this is what I'm going through, rather than hiding from it, is a community almost found me in a way. Yeah. So what happened was I was getting all this support from girls like me. Yeah. That then what happened when I got out of the other side of my cancer, it's like I could then create a space to support them. Yeah. And so Girl vs. Cancer was doing its thing. It had its blog. It was selling its T-shirts to raise money. And because I was doing a lot of talking around changing the dialogue around cancer, that's when I was found by Rachel Bland. Yeah. And together with Deborah James, we did You Mean the Big C podcast, which has been instrumental in changing the dialogue around cancer in the country. And it's something I'm incredibly proud of. But I feel like I'm really glad that Girl vs. Cancer has taken loads of different forms over the years, because it's made me go, this is what I definitely want it to be and this is what I definitely don't want it to be. Yeah. So now it's been like 6 years since I started talking under the hashtag Girl vs. Cancer. Wow. It's been a community, it's been a hashtag, it's been a blog, it's been a shop. Yeah. It's been a community space that campaigns. But now it's got its charity status. Actually, what I want it to be is like a hub of resources that speak to people differently. So it's not reinventing the wheel. It's not doing like anything different that anyone else is doing. It's doing it in a way that speaks to an audience that are younger, that are kind of, it's in a more relatable way. Yeah. Because I do feel like that is the key a lot of time to supporting people, is if you can meet them where they're at, they're going to absorb the information and be able to take on the advice without feeling overwhelmed. Yeah, of course. So where we're at now is, charity. We've got our website, a new visual identity. We've got, so I'm just laughing at my son on the stairs. Ray Ray.
Look, he wants to jam with him.
Yeah. It's got its own new visual identity. We've just done a massive campaign around sex and cancer and intimacy. Yeah. And that's going to continue into a resource in the new year. So there's a lot more to come. I think my problem is when it comes to cancer care and the things that need improving, it is vast. It's an elephant-sized issue, right? And I feel like it always seemed like I had to tackle this elephant. You know, they say, how do you eat an elephant? I know. And it's like, bite. And I think I'm actually come to that realization now that there's only so much I can do at a time. And I was punching too big, which is great to have that in me, that I'm like, I'm going too high. But focus on the things I'm good at. Start small and build from there. And that's what I'm trying to do now.
I think the biggest problem that you have, which a lot of us don't have, is you've got Girl vs. Cancer, which is a huge community and always has been. But then you've also got Lauren Mahon, that has a huge community and has just continues to grow. And there is so much responsibility that comes with that. Yeah. Because of how many people contact you. It's not always been very easy. No. You have been through a hell of a lot, Lauren. There's a question I have, and it revolves around, number one, how do you still keep going with all the stuff that you've gone through, and what still drives you to keep pushing for so much change? Because you could have walked away a long time ago. Yeah. You're successful influencer, content creator, social media extraordinaire, ideas. I don't know anyone who has ideas
ridiculous.
Like you. Like, it's mad.
I make myself so tired.
Your brain.
Do you know what? I'm good at the ideas. I'm not good at the execution, dude.
No,
it's like I have all these ideas.
I don't know anyone that works like that. And you're successful in your own right. You could have turned your back on all of this a long time ago. Whereas a lot of people, they start this and this becomes their everything. This doesn't need to be your everything, because you're so multifaceted in so many ways. What still keeps you going?
That it means something. I think in this day and age that everything feels so disposable and on to the next thing, and nothing really feels like it matters. Everything's just like vapor. I know that the work I'm doing matters, whether I see it or not. And that's not the godlike thing. That's just like, why would I not apply my skills to something I know can benefit others? So I will always advocate and I will always do the work, because fortunately for other people, but unfortunately for me, I started doing this work and it's worked and it's helping. So if it wasn't, I wouldn't do it anymore. I think what I am still trying to get a grip on, and I think we're all guilty of it, is where the balance lies. And I'm not sure, I feel like now I'm getting to a place with the right support for Girl vs Cancer that it's going to be allow me to be more structured and go, well, these are my Girl vs Cancer days, and then these days I can go off and work on other projects that are for me. So that is always been my goal. I feel like if I stepped back and was watching stuff happen that I'm like, that's wrong, I don't know how I'd handle it. Like, I'd want to always be able to help people or provide something to support people. I know too much now. These little tippy taps.
No, he's little toes.
Little tippy taps. Is he all right on there? Is it too noisy? Ray, come down. Ray. Oh my goodness, where's the boy? Oh my goodness, hello. Come on then. Can you come up here, because you're tippy tapping away.
You don't want to come?
Don't mouth at me, bro. There you go. You gonna sit down and chill out?
He's curious.
Yeah, he is. There's loads of smells to be smelled. And loads of things. Are you okay? Sulking now. Can't have you tippy tapping on the stairs.
I love him.
He's an ally.
He is an ally, a true ally.
Ask for nothing, just as there.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the balance, babe. It's hard.
Before I get onto the good things, what would you say are like your biggest challenges that you faced? Talking about cancer, but also like doing your, I know a lot of people don't like the word influencer, but you are an influencer.
I have influence.
You have influence, like with your platforms, and then obviously running Girl vs Cancer. What would you say are your biggest challenges? Have been?
So my biggest challenges, I think, are identity. I think for so long, I have been pigeonholed as the cancer girl because of the work I do. That is so easy to pigeonhole yourself as the cancer girl, and actually, you start to feel as though the work that you're doing outside of cancer, can you sit down? It doesn't matter. Like, it feels purposeless. Are you getting down? No, you're getting comfy. There we go. Sorry, Squire. Yeah, it feels like the work outside of cancer then doesn't really have any meaning, and then doesn't have any weight behind it, so it feels like a waste of time. And you start seeing, it's really dangerous actually, it takes a lot of therapy to get out of that mindset that you start believing your only value is when you're of service to people or when you're talking about cancer. And that's really damaging. That's why I find we've talked a lot about social media. And like, we talk about
trauma porn.
It's so easy. Like, if I put that, oh my God, I manhandled you, baby. I'm sorry. Can you just sit down though?
He's all right.
Bro, he just sit there. He's just had a day of having to sit down. That's what it is. Come on.
Yeah,
we're sitting down. Yeah. Good boy.
Good boy.
There you go, sweet pea. Where was I at?
For those who don't know what trauma porn is.
Oh, yes.
It's when you're so used to, like, we were used to it, to talking a bit about our journeys and stuff like that. And then, but documenting the highs and the lows, right?
Yeah.
And then the moment you start documenting just joyful things, it could be something, going for a coffee, going to an outing, or going to a party,
to an event.
Going to an event, you don't get any traction. No one wants to know.
But the minute you
go,
oh,
I'm so sad. Yeah, cancer's.
It's like,
and then it's like, oh my God, are you okay? And you get loads of likes.
It's validation.
But
it becomes trauma porn then.
It becomes trauma porn. So people are addicted to that. And there was a lot of that in Black Lives Matter, where we were talking about trauma porn in the black community. Women that were talking about their traumas and things like that got so much more followers and traction and stuff. But then when the moment they stopped talking about it and were talking about great things that they were going on in their lives, people didn't want to know, or the algorithm didn't reward that. And I think I've seen outside of that, actually, it's just generically
it is
across the board. Everybody, the minute you put something sad up, everyone wants to know. The minute that you don't, I know. And I made a conscious decision that I ain't talking about my cancer journey like that anymore online. And I see it. I see people do it all the time because, again, it's that validation. They put things up because they know that it's going to get the likes and things like that. And I guess that's the part really of the cancer community where a lot of people, and I get it sometimes when people say, I don't really like the narrative that's been put out there around cancer and cancer diagnosis. It's not very true, because I think there is a lot of unfortunate fakeness when it comes to posts and things like that because of that reason. Yeah,
and it's weird as well, because like, I make you right there, like I'll talk about cancer in relation to anniversaries now.
Of course.
But I never really talk about it in the day-to-day posting. In fact, most of the issue that, one of the big challenges that I have, which is another big challenge, is around the loss.
I know.
So like, there's a lot of loss. Like this year, since June, I've lost, or I've had 8 people around me die. Some of it's been cancer, some of it's been family. Like, it's been a lot, and it's relentless. And it's very difficult to keep doing the work that you do, or, launch campaigns and do stuff that you've worked so hard on for months, because life will start lifing. And unfortunately, because of the work that we do, there's always going to be death involved. It's a chronic illness people will get sick from and die from, unfortunately. But that has been hard, because if I stop working, nothing happens, I don't earn money, and nothing moves forward with Girl versus nothing moves forward with my personal brand. And especially when you're working so hard on campaigns and stuff to launch and get out there, it's like you have to just compartmentalize it. But I spoke about it on a post this year, and I was like, we've almost normalized the loss and the grief, because for us it's happened so much that it feels normal, but it's not normal. But then also, death and life is yin and yang. Death is normal. I feel like because the work we do, we experience it in such close proximity to ourselves. That's the bit that's not normal.
It's not normal.
So that's been a really big balance. And I think also as well, like for me, it's the challenge of, which you know really well, is like I've got all these ideas and I want to do everything, and I shoot for the moon. Like I shoot for the moon and I shoot for the stars, and that's amazing. But it means that I put a lot of pressure on myself to achieve a lot. And actually, I think a lot of that comes from the urgency you feel from being so ill. So I have this real thing of, you get what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so you're like, time is precious. Yeah. So I've got to throw everything at it. Yeah. I've got to go for 110%. Like, I can't give 50. I can't let this not happen now, because what if I don't survive? What if the cancer comes back? Or what if something happens and I can't do it? So it's taken a lot of mental work to be able to sit there and go, okay, look, I have to be comfortable with the fact that I am not superhuman. If things don't happen before I die, which I hope is going to be the very old age of like 95, sat and like sitting on a bench eating like rice pudding. I don't know why I said rice pudding. I don't even like rice pudding. But like, do you know what I mean? Like just sitting as an old person. But as long as you know everything you've done is done with integrity and that you enjoyed the ride, then that's all you can do. You can't put that pressure on yourself. But I have, and I'm having to learn, because the only person who's looking and speaking to me like that and going, oh, you haven't done this, you haven't done that, is me.
Yeah, it's us ourselves. I know.
No one's saying that from the outside looking in.
No.
Like, furthermorely, if me and you both stopped doing what we're doing tomorrow, we've done a lot. We've done enough. Yeah. So that's what I have to keep reminding myself.
We don't owe nobody nothing.
No, but
it is hard.
I owe it to, I just feel like, good boy, I feel like I've found what I'm good at. It just so happens to be cancer. You posted something the other today, I think I saw it on your Instagram. It says, cancer is the worst way to meet the best people. Yeah. And I think that is a lot of the cancer experience. It's the worst way to get the best out of a lot of life. It
is. And it can be quite like I was telling others as well, like, it's a weird space, because you have your friends and you've got your family members and you've always had those around you. But then having those people that have gone through the same thing as you, that kind of, we call it the cancer community, right?
Yeah.
That sometimes is a good and bad thing. But, you know, your family in the cancer world, it's such a precious space because no one understands. Actually, it's not just about what you've been through, it's about where your head is at.
Yes.
And I think that's the thing, isn't it? It's like that need for urgency. No, not many people around me get it. Even like when it comes to like my tolerance level of like...
Sorry, what's my son eating off the floor?
What's he doing?
It's all right.
Oh, is it biscuits? Oh, you got biscuits for him.
I'm having a sip of water.
Even like my tolerance level for just being around stupidness and, you know, people complaining about really silly things, I can't even engage in a lot of conversations anymore because I'm just like, mate, what you talking? Do you know what I mean? Because we don't think like that. Like your whole mind, body, soul has changed after the diagnosis, and it affects you in so many ways, and it's not always straight away. It's years later. I was going to say that to you.
Yeah. People think like those realizations, a lot of realizations happen at the start, yes. But I feel like I'm 7 years post-diagnosis.
Yeah.
And I feel actually like the biggest transformations, the biggest ahas and the biggest changes I've made and decisions I've made that are really impactful and long-lasting in my life now have happened in the last, I'd say, 18 months. It takes a long time.
Can you give us some?
Well, I'm more of an inside person now.
Yeah.
I used to be outside all the time. All the time.
So I'm actually more of an inside person.
You are.
Now.
I think you're more inside than me.
I am.
You are.
I had to.
Yeah, I feel like I spent a lot of time. What I didn't realise is I'm like an introverted extrovert. So like, I love people. I feed off people. Like I love talking to humans. I love meeting humans. Yeah. But that used to always be in like a party setting. So it always used to be around drink and other things that aren't great. And I would love like spending time with people, but it wasn't actually real connection. It was synthetic connection. So what I've realised is I used to equate being social with partying. Yeah. And now actually I equate social with quality time. Yeah. So like my favourite thing is actually like, I actually find big groups really overwhelming, which is mad because it's me. Yeah. So like if I'm going to a birthday party and I look forward to seeing everyone, but I prefer it. Like you was at my birthday lunch this year. It's like just 5 of us together and then went and met other people in a bigger group because then I get quality time with people and I have real connection. Yeah. And especially since I've got Raymond now, like I will go for dog walks and we'll come to mine and have dinner and a bottle of wine. Like it's not...
Well, I turned up with a Magnum last time.
Oh my God. And we got through it.
I did. With a Magnum of Whispering Angel.
You did. I did not complain. I was like, well, thank you very much. I don't think I even cooked for you that day. I think you just brought it. But yeah, that's been a big change for me. I think I just have this sense of, I just know what I'm worth. And I think a lot of the issues I had in my life and resentments I held and a lot of things like that came from a place of lack. Yeah. So it's that lack mindset where it's like there's not enough to go round. And I think the longer I do this work and the longer I'm like out in the world, and you'll always see people doing things that you'd like to do or stuff like that. I think the best thing you can do is just like support people and go, good for you, the same for me. Like I used to have this thing of there wasn't enough, and that's what had the urgency attached. I think the minute I let go of that urgency and that lack mindset, and was like, there's so much in this world and the right things that are for me are going to happen. Absolutely. As long as I stay true to myself, follow like what's in my heart and what I believe to be right, only the good can come to me. So that was a massive shift. Yeah. And I think a lot like you, mate, if it doesn't spark joy and it causes me that much stress or someone annoys me that much, there's no energy going there.
There's none.
Yeah.
And I think what's really important to say as well is it's like, I don't know about you, I think you definitely have said this to me before that happens, but I realised after cancer, energies drain me. I get drained. Yeah. So I definitely, like you, always like to be surrounded by people. I come from a big family, always surrounded by people. And then like just being in my own space and things like that, that's how I recharge myself and recharge my batteries, being on my own. Like, and I've realised that's like a huge part of me now, is now recharging my batteries, because I get drained by people and energy. And I can even be on a phone to someone and the energy just it's a physical thing now.
But you know what? You have to give yourself your flowers for the boundaries, because I've seen those boundaries. Like you have learned to really put them in place, and I'm really proud of you for that, because that's not an easy thing to do.
Yeah.
Everyone's always had access to you, and especially in your Black Women Rising community, you know, your members have your number and they contact you about a lot. But what that does mean is, as much as it's amazing that you're giving them that one-on-one support, you're becoming a one-woman support group.
Yeah.
And you can't do that.
Yeah.
So what I'm really proud of you is, like, there's been so many times that I've even messaged you and I say, oh babe, I've got this on, do you want to come to that? And you're like, no babe, I can't. Like, you're really boundaried with, this is my time, I need to recharge, I need, because you can't be the best version of yourself if you're running on empty. And boundaries, I think, is a really important thing.
Yeah.
And like, give yourself props for that, babe, because like, you are a little bit of a icon, so I look to you for that, because I'm like, Leanne did really good at boundaries. I need to be a bit more boundaried. Yeah,
you have to, because one thing I've learned is, if you give people stuff, they'll take until there's nothing left of you. They'll take and they'll take. No one's going to turn around and go, I don't want any more, you know, you're good. They'll keep taking, and it's regardless of what you got, money, energy, time, advice. They'll keep taking and taking and taking.
Yeah.
And I think that's in all areas of life. And I think I've had one too many episodes of horrific burnout.
Yeah.
You know, like scary burnout.
Yeah, I do.
Like scary burnout where mental health, everything is on the floor. Can't get out of bed, can't shower. That burnout.
Yeah, it's
to
scary.
Say, actually, and then when that happens, you look about and you go, actually, who is there? Because remember, when you're busy sort of holding everybody else up, look at us, we run businesses and things like that, and we're the pillar of strength for friends, family, and da-da-da-da. But when your back is against the wall, you look about and you go, yes, I have some absolutely incredible, magical people in my life, but when you're down there, who can support and who can lift up? And usually when you look around, it's very minimal people. And so I thought to myself, actually, I need to be the best version of myself for me.
Yes.
And also to be able to give that back to those very few people who consistently are always there.
Yeah.
And once I put those boundaries in place really strongly, I would say that happened at the back end of 2021. But girl, this year, once I put them in place, I counted on my hands, I lost 10 friends. Some of those people, bona fide, friends I've known since childhood, I lost them because I started putting boundaries in place.
Yeah, people don't like it.
And it could have been as simple as, you may have been able to do that before. That is no longer happening now. Don't hear from them again. And that's fine. But that was me putting those boundaries in place. And it hurt and it hurt and it hurt. It no longer hurts. Because what I've realized is, if you can't take me as I am now, we're forever evolving human beings.
Babe, we constantly change.
And if I decide to change tomorrow, that's on me. But if you can't take me as I am now, then don't be here. And I'm glad for that.
Yeah. I don't know what I don't know if I was reading or listening to something, and they were talking about the roles. It was my horoscope this week. And it was talking about the roles. I love it. You know, me and my astrology babes.
Yeah.
But it was talking about the roles we had within our relationships, whether that be committed relationships like partnerships, business, or whether it's like friendships, love. And actually, it's like, none of us are meant to stay the same person in those dynamics. Like, we all have our roles to play, right, in different groups, in families and everything. We're the certain person. It's like almost you could build a caricature of yourself.
Yes, true.
But that's not meant to stay the same. And actually, it's really healthy, because if you evolve and you become, you know, you find you're taking up more of this role, then it gives space for your role to be occupied by somebody else. And in a way, it shows the multifaceted ways in which we could support each other and be there and show up. It's really interesting, because I see where you're coming from, and probably without even realising it, being conscious. Yeah, that's kind of happened, I guess.
I definitely do. It's weird, because actually, astrology-wise, I was told a few years ago by a really trusted friend of mine that this year, 2023, 2022, 2023, and a little bit of 2024, was around house cleaning for everybody. Everyone was going to be doing a bit of house cleaning, getting clear about people, career, everything. There was just spring cleaning. That's what they called it, spring cleaning. And I've realized this year, like, what I've been going through, and I've started to be like vocal about it. So many people have been doing that as well, going through this incredible transformation that's made them hit like this total rock bottom of weirdness, and then they're building slowly back up. And although it's hard, it's like you're becoming the best version. You're shedding skin.
Shedding skin.
Shedding
That's
skin.
what it feels like. But
and
do you know what, babe?
Beautiful.
It feels beautiful, but do you know what else?
Yeah.
I'm tired.
Yeah.
I am tired of healing. I'm tired of learning and shedding skin.
Yeah.
I just want to have a year where it's just like la 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 la, like Barbie Land.
Yeah.
You know, I just want to go on some nice holiday
go to Barbie Land.
and just live my best life and like nothing that deep.
It's coming.
Nothing that deep. I mean, we've said already we need a holiday. Palmer's, you can sort that out. That'd be great.
Do you know what else as well? Yeah. Can I just say something though? You're sitting here, and you know, I speak to you all the time. You seem so strong, and you seem great. Even the stuff that you're saying, all the things that you're saying as well, like. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it just goes to show how beautiful life is. Like, you go through these ups and downs. It's like forever changing.
Oh, yeah.
But if you can sit here today, right now, in this moment, and I'm telling you now, you seem strong. And I know you don't care if there's fucking cameras around or not. Yeah, you are always yourself. Yeah. If you're having a shit day, you're having a shit day. Like you seem so strong. It's just, it's beautiful to see.
Thanks, baby girl. Because honestly, like about 3 weeks ago, I was on the phone to you, back end of the week, just in tears, like not knowing what next steps to take. And Leanne being Leanne, within like 10 minutes, I kind of said, right, I'm off to make a phone call. And then a week later, I was having a meeting that's probably going to change a lot of things. Yeah. So I credit a lot of that to you, because that's been a big weight off my mind. Yeah. But it did take a good week or so after that start to happen for my body to align with my brain, because I realised I was running on such stress and anxiety and grief. I didn't have any headspace to think straight. But it does go, at that time I couldn't see a way out. And the minute someone is like, just, because I always talk about the window and the door analogy. And I feel like what was happening is I was pushing against this door that wasn't opening for me. And I didn't want to admit that the way I was running Girl vs. Cancer at the time was a closed door. And because it's my baby, and it's like, but I didn't know what the alternative would be, and I didn't want to step away from it. And then all of a sudden I spoke to you, and you were the window that went, all of a sudden the window went boop, and I was like, there's another way out, there's no way to do this. And it's that path of least resistance. Like, if it's resisting you that much, it's not for you. And I think it just took those conversations, but I think it's all timing. I don't think it could have happened before then. And I do as well, like, I was really low, and now 3 weeks on, I wouldn't say like I'm like 100% back to myself. I'm really looking forward to a chilled out end of the year and like recouping, but I am excited about next year now, rather than being filled with dread or overwhelm. So that's exciting. So thank you for saying that, because like for a while it was a hairy couple of months, man. I was like, oh.
But you've been through a hell of a lot, and again we've got enough bloody content to fill another show, because if we go through the things you've been through,
but also
the thing
you.
A lot of it crosses paths as well. It does cross paths.
Like,
I think the thing with you, and it's not a comparison, you know, but one of the things with you though, Lauren, is the amount of grief. I'm got a lot of grief, you know, off to a funeral tomorrow. You know, grief is there, but man, you have lost a lot of people. Yeah, it's a lot, and it's relentless. Do you know what's hard with it more than anything is that it feels so frequent that I feel like I get to grieve anyone properly. I know. That's what it is. It's like one after the other. Yeah. So it all becomes muddied with this one big feeling of grief, but actually I want to be able to really sit and think about each person and what they brought to my life and what they meant, and you know, and like really feel what I can learn from them and take on, because I always think that's really important. So like when you live on the lips of others, right? So when someone goes, you want to be able to bring part of them to the world. And it's really hard when it's so many. It almost feels overwhelming. Like our mate Saima, I always said I wanted to do something in her name, and I've got an idea for next year, I'll tell you off camera, that I'm really excited about. But she always used to call me a starseed. She did. Which is someone who is planted on earth to light the way for others. So I've got it tattooed on me, and I changed all my business names to We Are Starseed, so that she's in it. But it's taken me such a long time to actually figure out what I want to do in her name. Because I just haven't had the space. You don't have the space. And also you can't honour everybody in the same way. You can't. No. It's really hard, but yeah, it's really hard to explain for people who aren't in this situation, but there isn't one. Some hit harder than others, but there aren't any deaths that I feel I've experienced during this
in the cancer world, that doesn't hit hard. Every loss feels really big. And so I think that's what's difficult. It's like I may outwardly grieve certain people more than others, but it's just because at that time I have the words. There's other people that it's a bit more silent, but then I'm not going to perform my grief, so.
You don't have to perform.
Yeah.
Honestly, it's like, I hate when people think that, you know, putting a post up about someone is you grieving them. Actually, it's got nothing to do with that.
No.
Again, like you said, it's the stuff that happens behind closed doors.
Exactly.
What's next for you?
Well, I went to see a medium, didn't I?
Oh my God. Okay. Off camera, on camera.
On camera, I don't mind. I won't talk about everything, but yeah, no. So for me, what I would like, what's next for me is next year is the year of what I'd say is separation. I think next year is the year where I'm able to do some real impactful things with Girl vs Cancer that is supported and resourced well, so that it's not all on me. So that in turn, I've got the space to go off and do my own things. Like I want to do my own podcast, nothing to do with cancer. Yeah. It's already in the pipeline.
Yeah,
We're just sorting out the pilot. So that's been going on all year. But obviously with all the losses and stuff, it's just everything got pushed back. I'm also like launching my own personal website again. I want to go back to like my blogging origins, like my origin story.
Yeah.
I love to write, like, and I don't want to do that on Instagram. I feel like, again, it's that space of where you put something out and it can mean so much to you, but then it's gone in a second and it's chip paper. And I just want to create a space where I can create long form content, where I can be me, and I'm basically writing for me. Yeah. But also in the hope that girls like me be like, oh my God, yeah. So I'm really excited about that. There's been potentially book talk. Now I have the space to do it. Like there's a subject I really, really want to talk about. And I want to be able to write. It won't be a memoir or anything like that. Like, oh my God, no one needs to hear another cancer story, my God. But I do think there's something around my experience around loss that I could really bring to the table. So there's that. Yeah. And then what my word for next year is like, it's joy and light. Like I feel like
I love that.
This year's been really quite heavy. Yeah. And my term for the year was consistent. So I'm like, well, it was consistently quite hard. But like in certain things, I think I've been consistent. Next year, I want lightness. I want joy. I want happiness.
That is my thing.
That's
for next
what
year,
needs to happen.
Joy, happiness. Yeah, exactly.
Everything needs to not feel so heavy next year. So that's what I want for myself. I want some real lightness. And I think, you know, the stuff that's going to be happening with Girl vs Cancer, it's going to allow for that to happen. Yeah. Because it's otherwise it's always just juggling too many. Yeah. And the thing is, people go to me, you wear so many hats, and do you know what, Leanne? I don't even suit hats. Yeah. I don't even look good in hats. But yeah, I wear so many. Yeah. But yeah, so that's me, right? That's hopefully, fingers crossed.
But you do work best when you do multiple things anyway. Like you've got your hand in multiple things. I think you do work best that way because that's how you are, you know. So yeah, I'm really excited for you.
Thanks. I'm excited.
I'm really excited. Okay, so we talked about affirmations, mediums. We've spoken about all sorts of things. Horoscopes. I've got 2 of my favourite packs of cards. So you have to choose what you want. Or you can do both, actually. But here's an affirmation in here or a statement.
I want that one.
Piece of advice.
Miracles
okay, cool.
Now.
So
it drew me in.
Take a card. They're all shuffled. You just got to take one from the top.
Are you sure they're shuffled?
They're literally shuffled.
So this is just my card.
Yeah. So this is just your card.
I ain't got no net, babe. I ain't got no nails. Help.
I'm not gonna look.
Okay.
Got it. Okay. You're gonna read it for us. Go on.
I let go, and I allow the universe to do her thing.
Look at that.
It's so vague yet so apt.
Look at that! I let go and let the universe do her thing. Look at that.
See?
Perfect.
Path of least resistance, babes. Every time. Not on a closed door.
Look at that.
Look at the window.
Oh my God, it's your card. So that's your card. And it wouldn't be a Palmer's podcast without giving you a Palmer's
my skin is gonna be so hydrated and smell so nice. Yes! Thank you so much. Honestly, this menopausal dry skin of mine is so grateful. She's parched.
Lauren, thank you so much for coming on. I just love you so much.
Babe, I love you beyond, and I'm proud of you, and this is amazing. And girl, you're such a natural presenter. We need to do our own show. We could do the new Ant and Deck, Cancer Deck.
Yeah! Let's do it. Lauren, you just had me, first and foremost, swearing and laughing the whole time. I don't think I could present with you. I would be drinking and drunk.
Yeah, it's true.
Actually, we should. It would be fun.
Yeah, it'd be good.
But thank you so much. You are such an incredible force and ally, and just an amazing support system to me, but Black Women Rising as a whole. So we just really, really appreciate you.
And I appreciate you. And thank you. And keep doing you. You should be proud of yourself.
Thank you. So that was the end of that. So join us next time for another wholesome conversation with more guests like Lauren and a lot of our other family and friends who will be coming back. So thank you.